A lot of people define him, because he was the first African American elected mayor in the South since Reconstruction, they define him as an African American politician. But in reality, he was someone who reached out to groups that previously had not been in the corridors of power, who had been disaffected. A good example of that would be the stance he took, which quite frankly, from a policy standpoint, I didn't agree with. But it was a standpoint that made a lot of hay for him politically, and it made a lot of sense for him politically, which was to support neighborhoods as opposed to developers who wanted to have roadways put in. One of his campaign themes in '73 was a no I-485. And I-485 was going to be an interstate that was going to run through the eastern part of the city, basically generally along the same lines as where the Presidential Parkway or Freedom Parkway is now. And the right-of-way had already been designated. Houses had been acquired and torn down, but the neighborhood groups were opposed to that. And that allowed him to build a strong and powerful constituency among neighborhood advocates. And in fact, when he became mayor, he didn't just work with the neighborhood groups and then, not worry about them after he became mayor. One of the things he did was to create a system so that the neighborhoods could have input into the planning process called the Neighborhood Planning Unit System, or what we call at the city, the NPUs. That came from his commitment to those neighborhoods, so he reached out to those folks. That the thing that is the most impressive to me about Maynard is the fact that he always committed himself to contributing to youth. He always gave himself to young people. When Maynard passed away in 2003, I thought I held up real well until Cesar Mitchell got up at the memorial service at Morehouse and talked about a period of time where he was the president of the political science club, or the pre-law club, I think it was, at Morehouse. And he talked about the fact that he had done everything he could to get a big turnout because Maynard was coming to speak. And he had put out flyers, and he had called people, and at the end of the day, about 6 or 7 people showed up, and he was very embarrassed. And he talked about the fact that Maynard stayed there and talked to those 6 or 7 people like he was talking to an auditorium with 500 people in it. And I went up to Cesar afterwards and told him that moved me more than any speech anybody else has given during this whole period, because it reflects what I know about Maynard, that he treated you, if it was 2 or 3 students, 18, 19 years old, he treated you like you were the most important person in the world, and he invested in you.